What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? Let's play some Indy 500 for the Atari 2600. It's a game that I don't think people dislike. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's just very meh and kind of gets lost in the shuffle when people talk about Atari games. I'm under no illusions that this is going to be on anyone's top 10 list, but I had a lot of fun playing this game. And it's funny because every time I would try to pop it in and play it over my buddy's house, everyone would walk away from me. They'd be like, "Man, we'll just go play. We'll go play GI Joe figures or something." So, the only other real true notable thing about the game is it has its own specific paddle style controller. Notice this one says driving versus the other one that says paddle, but it is a paddle controller. The only true differences that I know of is that there's no stopper, so you can infinitely spin this in either direction. Whereas on the standard paddle controllers, they will eventually stop. There's a little pin in there that stops the spinning. Now, I don't know if the pot that's inside there, the potentiometer, is a different value or not. You can tell me down in the comments below if you know anything about that. But I do know that this controller was really only used for this as far as I know. And I don't think you can use the paddle controllers to play Indy 500. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure. And the only real true difference between this paddle and the actual paddle controllers is it's one paddle to one plug, whereas your actual paddle controllers, God, that's going to sound confusing, is two paddles to one plug, and you figure out who's player one and player two. Which that worked out great in Warlords because you'd have four players, but regardless. So let me pop this into my 2600 Junior, and I'll show you why I enjoyed it. This will be more of a demonstration than gameplay. But either way, I just figured this is a game I don't think gets enough love, and I really enjoyed it as a kid. Alright, so let's fire this bad boy up. If I haven't said it already, this game is better enjoyed with a friend, though there are a couple of one-player variants. And it's just your typical racing game, an early Atari title. So it's very basic, but I think it plays well. It plays very well, in fact. Sounds cool. And, yeah, it's just a really fun game. So it's basic, different tracks. And you're just going to go around and you need to collect more laps than the next guy. That's all there is to it. But what makes this more fun as a two-player game is you can smash into each other. Boom! And we used to love doing this. See if I can do it with a one-player thing. I guess not. If you guys smash into each other and just wiggle the paddle, it makes this really cool noise, so just, silliness. And that's really all there is to it. So some of the other game variations on this bad boy. Here's Game 2. It's a one-player mode, but instead of playing against a computer like you would normally see in a game like this, you're actually racing against the clock to try to get the most amount of laps that you possibly can. Not too much fun by yourself unless you're really into competing against clocks. I would say this is more to hone your skills with the paddle. Wow, I haven't played this game probably 30 years. Probably since the mid to late 80s. I think I'm still somewhat efficient at it. These paddle controllers, they just work really great. I didn't even have to crack this one open and clean it or anything. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, you're just trying to get as many laps as you can in the amount of time. And here, I'll show you a neat little trick. Though I wouldn't recommend doing this to get the most amount of laps because it takes forever to do. But if you really wanted to, you could just do this. I'm not even holding on to the paddle. I'm just pressing the button. So that's pretty neat, huh? How many racing games can you do that in? Alright, so this is more of the same, just a different track. I put on the one-player mode. But there is a two-player mode, obviously. And this is obviously a more difficult track. You really have to know what you're doing with your paddle. I keep calling it a paddle. It's actually the driving controller. It's a paddle. So shut up. So let's move on. This is probably one of my favorite modes on this cartridge. This is kind of like capture the flag. You and your buddy will race around and try to collect as many of these dots. And I can't remember if it was an allotted time or if you get to a certain score, the game just stops, much like in Pong. But yeah, that's all there is to it. And of course, there is a one-player version where you're doing it against the clock. Again, probably best used to hone your skills in this particular game. You do have these little dealies here. So if you feel that that's a better option than spinning around, there you go. Bob's your uncle. So, and then you have the same game, just a different track. This is okay. I wasn't the biggest fan of this, but this is basically just tag. You see there on the bottom, I'm flickering like a ghost in Pac-Man. The idea is to tap your opponent and then try to get away. Now, if I remember correctly, I'm going to lock up on him since it's only one paddle being used. Get away! Yeah. But a tone signifies whoever's it, so to speak. And if you're the one who's it, you flash. See if I can't... Yeah. I don't know why I can't just get away from them. But yeah, it's basically just tag. Same thing, different track. Now, there is no one player in tag because if there's nothing else to actually tag, obviously that's not going to jive. This was one of my favorite tracks, but I don't think this was as fun as a two-player. I don't know why, but it's ice. You're on ice here, and you're slipping and sliding all over the place. It's more the same, just with a different, slight variant to it. There is a one-player, obviously. Here's the same thing, just a different track. Same thing there, and now we're back to the original track here, game 1. Let's play 2 for a little bit, and I'll just try to get... I'll try to get the most amount of laps as I can in that 60 seconds or whatever it is they give you. But that's really all there is to it, guys. And just a game that's very mediocre. I personally think as a two-player game, this can be real fun. As simple as it is, it's an early title. They were just starting to cut their teeth into the Atari 2600 as far as what it can and can't do. I think there's enough variations that are different than most other racing games where you and a buddy of yours can have a lot of fun with this, in short bursts, of course. But smashing against each other on the tracks, I think that's where it was mainly at. So, yeah, so let's just play this for a few minutes until the clock gets out and runs out. God, I can't even speak. You'll have to excuse me. I'm not feeling well. I got a little bit of a head cold, if you can't tell from my voice and my sniffles. But I do have a little bit of a head cold. I'm congested, and I just feel like dog poo-poo. But there you go. I got 10 in the allotted time. So maybe next time I'll get 12. Maybe next time I'll get 5. Maybe go fuck myself. I don't know. So guys, let me know down in the comments what you think about Indy 500. Have you ever played it? Did you always pass it up like a lot of my friends did? Either way, I think it's a fun game. I don't think it's something that I would go to quite often. Obviously, I haven't played it since the mid to late 80s. So it's not going to be on anyone's top 10 list by any stretch of the imagination. But still a fun early title for the Atari 2600 that I wanted to spotlight to bring it to your attention should you have never heard of it. And I think you can get some enjoyment out of it. And I'm pretty sure these cards are damn cheap because they were plentiful and nobody really gives two shits about it. So guys, go ahead and leave feedback. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. All feedback to the Creep is positive. I hope you're doing well. Thanks as always so much for watching. Until next time, take care, creep it real, and bye-bye.